Next, we'll look at modifying the text style settings. So the first thing I want to do is choose a font. Now we talked about the difference between resource fonts and AutoCAD fonts compared to TrueType fonts. So we do want to change over to a TrueType font. Most agencies use Arial or Calibri. In this example, I'm going to use Arial. So I'm just going to go into each of the text styles and I'm going to change the font from the resource font to an Arial TrueType font. The next thing I want to do is modify the text height and width. When the original text styles were created, they were created for a common plan sheet scale, 1 inch equals 20 feet. In the legacy workspace, the users were aware that they would need to manually adjust the text size if they were going to be using a different sheet scale. In ORD, we no longer have to make that a manual edit, as the text will automatically change and scale up or down when the annotation scale is changed, which is going to be up here under the drawing production ribbon. So when setting the size here in the text styles, you need to convert the size to a full size so that the text will scale up appropriately. To do this, first think about how the sheet seeds are going to be set up. So think about the sheet model. Are the units in feet or are they in inches? This is going to affect how you need to calculate the new height and width. So if your sheet model unit is in feet, and we have a text height here for a 20 scale sheet that is 4.4 for the height and width, then we just simply need to divide this value by 20. In this case, this would be 0.22. And then we would do that for each of these. Now let's think about if the sheet model is in inches, which is going to be this case. So here we have the height set at 4.4 for a 20 scale. I'm just going to go ahead and change that back. So what we need to do is divide the value 4.4 by a scale factor of 240, which comes from 12 times 20, knowing that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So if we were to divide 4.4 by 240, then that's going to give us a value of 0.018. And I'm going to continue to edit the height and width for each of the other text styles. Okay, now that I've gone through and I've changed the height and width for each one of these text styles, now I'm going to think about the other formatting options or settings that are going to make each one of these text styles differently. So the first thing I'm looking at is if it's straight or slanted. So for the straight ones, I don't need to do anything. My text is already straight. But for the slanted ones, I do need to make a change. So to apply a slant, I'm going to go over here and select italicized. And then I'm also going to enter in a slant degree. So I've gone through and done those for all 4 of my existing text, and you can see it's now been slanted. The next thing I want to consider is if it's going to be bolded or not. So this change is only going to happen to my proposed text. So for that, I'm just going to simply toggle on my bold option. And then at this point, any other different setting that I have for each text style is what I would go in and set, whether that be the spacing, adding in an under or overline. Perhaps you want to add in a background color for your text, or any of those other types of settings. So now I'm in a DGN where I've placed 2 rows of text. On the left side, I have text that I placed using the legacy text styles. And then on the right side, I have text that I placed using the new ORD text styles. And I've named each text node the name of the text style. So what I want to show here is just how the text for ORD is going to be annotative. So when we set the size of the text style, we set that to a full size, meaning that when we go and change the annotation scale, our text is going to scale up or down appropriately. So right now I have it at a 20 scale, which is what the legacy text styles were developed off of. So you can see they are the same size. And then if I were to change that scale and go up, you'll see the text scale up. And then the same would happen if I were to scale the text down.